All right, what is up, y'all? So we are here today with meal plan number 6, which is named after our 2 evening meals, which is ground beef stew and pork chops. And you're gonna love this one. It's some of our favorite recipes. We're doing things just a little bit different. So based on some feedback, based on personal experience, and based on client experience, I understand that many of us do not eat breakfast. And if we do, it's something very simple. Many of us do coffee and cream in the morning or some bone stock in the morning. Some of us do the approved protein shake with the whey isolate and the collagen and some cream, which is totally cool. Many of us make our breakfast and take it with us and eat it when we're hungry because we're striving for the 2 meals a day thing, right? So to keep the recipe list very simple, we have recommendations for that morning piece. We have a lunch recommendation, and then of course we have our evening dinners recommendations, all right? Plus, I understand that many of us are not following the meal plan to a T, although some of us are. A lot of us are just looking at the meal plan for ideas for recipes for the week, which is totally cool. So again, to keep things very simple, we're changing things up just a little bit. You'll see it here in just a moment. All right, now I do want to make a plug for a couple things that have come up. First of all, I've said this many times in the past, but I want to reiterate, I do believe that most human beings on the planet are going to benefit from 2 meals a day most days, with a lot of ease and flexibility, okay? Now, if I have a day where I'm just hungry in the morning and I want to eat, then I'm going to eat. Most days, I think that most people, to get the nutrition that they need and to also have the balance of eating with space, I think most of us need to move towards 2 meals a day. And there are extenuating circumstances. I have private clients right now that we're doing 3 meals a day because we need to, we have to. Some of us have some blood sugar handling issues, some symptoms, conditions that kind of dictate that we have, a snack and 2 meals or something like that. But in general, I think most of us need to be moving towards 2 meals a day. Now, if we're doing 3 meals a day and we feel like we need that, we benefit from it, that's totally fine. But let's keep in the back of our minds that we do want to experiment in the future with reducing or pulling out one of those meals, okay? Because I do think that 3 meals a day is just, it's food in the system all the time. I truly believe that we need some absolute space where we're not getting any energy from food at all, okay? Now, also, some of us, on the flip side of that, are very comfortable with doing 1 meal a day. I did 1 meal a day for probably 3 years straight. And what we found is that 1 meal a day is not enough. It's not enough meals to get the nutrition that you need in a day, especially if you're an athlete and you're working out and you're training hard, okay? Now, it is liberating to know that you can do 1 meal a day. Like, it's awesome if I have a crazy busy day that I don't stress out, because I've worked all the way through until 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and forgotten to eat, okay? But I don't think that we need to force that or mandate it. I actually make myself have a midday meal or a meal around 2 or 3 because, again, for me to receive all the nutrition that I need and also enjoy my life and do all the activities I'm doing and work out really hard, I think that 2 meals is the sweet spot for me to get the nutrition that I need and also have the space that I need for metabolic flexibility and fat burning, okay? Another thing that's come up over the past couple of weeks is carbohydrates. Now, we will never be low carb or keto. We use those as tools. I don't think those are healthy long term because we can still get all the benefits that we want from a real food way of eating by keeping our carbs from real food sources, which is our safe starches in our fruits and some honey and dark chocolate, and in smaller amounts so that the body has this preference to learn how to make energy from fat, okay? Now, that being said, what I do notice is that those of us that have some simple sugars, some carbs in the morning, tend to have a craving for carbs throughout the day, tend to be a little bit more snackier, tend to have a little bit more cravings and urges. So it's just something to pay attention to. I think a lot of us do better with having our carbs midday and or evening, sometimes punctuated at either one of those meals, and trying to keep that morning piece either void of food, or if you have to have something, try to pull back on the carbohydrates so that you don't give your body a signal of sugar or starch or carbs for fuel. And again, some of us are gonna be very bio-individual. Again, I have clients that we actually have to have some carbs in the morning so that we feel better throughout the day. But we are also moving in the direction of trying to pull back on that, okay? And then also, remember, red meat, ruminant meat from herbivores is going to be the most nutritious of the animal foods because ruminants take the power and the beauty of the sunlight and the minerals from the earth and the water, and they take the plants and they convert it into something that's usable by human beings. So every one of our meal plans is going to have a red meat option or a red meat evening meal. And then we're going to try to balance and experiment with different things for that second meal, okay? So we're going to rotate through things like pork and poultry and seafood and shellfish and stuff like that, all right? And then finally, remember, for simplicity, same morning thing every day, same lunch every day, and then same dessert most evenings. And then we're trying to incorporate the same plants and starches and things across these different recipes so that we minimize our shopping. We get the variety with the evening meals, the 2 different evening meals, and we get the variety from week to week because we're changing those evening meals up and all the meals in general. And then remember, Fridays for most of us is going to be a leftover smorgasbord. All right, so we try to get rid of everything that we have in the fridge by Friday because we usually have leftovers from everything else, right? So that we don't waste any food. And then weekends we tend to keep open and flexible, right? You can just kind of gravitate towards your personal staples, or you can order a gluten-free pizza or something along those lines, right? So now, getting off that soapbox, let's get into what the actual meal plan looks like. All right, so the optional morning thing for most of us is gonna be the protein shake, which is 2 scoops of whey, 1 scoop of collagen, some kind of cream, coconut or heavy cream, and then if you want to have a little bit of carbs, I think berries are awesome because they're so low in sugar, but they do give the people that need it enough of a boost to feel it, okay? Now, something that a lot of us gravitate towards, or, a lot of us are trying to get bone stock in, but we're having a hard time finding out how to actually do that. Think of bone stock as a morning cup of coffee, or a cup of coffee, or a cup of tea in general. Bone stock is the new coffee and new tea. All right, so what I like to do in the mornings is heat up some bone stock in a saucepan. I'll put a little bit of a traditional fat with it, like some tallow or some butter, and then I'll take that in a thermos with me. I'll put a scoop of multi-collagen in it, and I'll take that with me to work, and then I'll have that after my workout in the morning or maybe mid-morning or something like that. And by the way, having bone stock with a little bit of fat and some collagen and some bone marrow is not going to disrupt a fast, according to what we're looking for as far as the benefits go, okay? Now, another option is coffee or tea with some cream or MCT oil or some coconut oil or something like that, all right? So again, those are the morning options, and the bone stock and the coffee options do not disrupt a fast for the benefits that we're looking for, okay? All right, lunch most days is gonna be our ham, egg, and cheese roll-up. Man, this is so great. I'm so excited to shoot a video about it. So let's look at it real quick. Basically, you're taking some ham deli meat and you're rolling up some pre-cooked eggs with some shredded cheddar cheese in it. And then you're rebaking that just a little bit so you can get the ham nice and crispy. And I'm telling you, these are easy to grab and go, a lot of nutrition. They absolutely taste amazing, okay? And then if we look at our Monday, Tuesday meal, and or we can call it meal number 1 depending on when your week starts, we got the Instant Pot ground beef stew. By the way, this is very similar to what the SHT Meals beef and yams looks like, except it's using rice. So a lot of great flavor in this. We've got ground beef, we've got our typical spices and seasonings, but we've got what really makes this taste great is a little bit of tomato paste in it, some tamari sauce, and some red boat fish sauce, and a little bit of thyme, all right? So ground beef stew in an Instant Pot, in a slow cooker. You can even do it in a stock pot or something like that. And I'm telling you, man, super nutritious. You got a little bit of carbs in there. It's so great, all right? The second evening meal is the brutally simple pork chops. And we've had this before, just slightly different how we prepare it. Basically, you're just taking a skillet and you're taking a healthy fat and you're searing your pork chops when they're in there, so you're not making a mess everywhere else. You're seasoning one side of it while the other side's cooking with some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And then once the bottom side of that's nice and crisp, then you flip it over and you do the same thing. And you're keeping all the seasoning in there, you're not getting all over the place. And you're using the finger test to make sure that it's cooked all the way through, which is just slightly firm to the touch. And if you need to, you can take that whole skillet and throw it in the oven and cook it just a little bit longer, okay? Now, finally, the dessert most nights is going to be, well, first of all, we cover the safe starch, okay? So, again, we're trying to use white rice as our main safe starch throughout these recipes. So the white rice for the beef stew, you can throw it in the stew after the stew's done cooking and then mix it all up, or you can have it as a side, pour the stew on top of it. That's really good. And then for the brutally simple pork chops, we're doing double cooked white rice, which is basically you're taking your pre-cooked white rice after you've cooked your pork chops and you're leaving the grease and the juices and stuff in the skillet, and then you're putting the white rice in there and cooking it once more. It's like a double fried rice, but it's cooked in that juice and it's so good, okay? Then finally for dessert, we're gonna have the classic but powerful and amazing frozen berries, cream, and honey, all right? So in a bowl, you're just basically mixing berries, cream, honey, and the cream can be heavy cream, it can be coconut cream, and I'm telling you right now, you're not gonna be wanting anything else after that. It's so good, all right? Now, if we go to our organ challenge for the week, we're revisiting the bone marrow because I feel like it's such a superfood. It's so good for you. And a great way to get it in is mix it in your bone stock, let it melt inside your bone stock and use it with a cup of bone stock. Or you can use it like a pat of butter and put a little bit on top of a dish, on top of your pork chops, on top of your rice, and let it melt into it. And it just tastes so, so good. And well, I'm not going to go into the benefits of bone marrow because that's a separate video, but it's so good for you. All right. Now, we also have some meal prep tips here. And I think we covered most of what it is that we're looking for there. And then we've also got some other reminders. All right. So just make sure, as a reminder, you're getting up early most days, consistent schedule, because that's what our circadian rhythms need. Go for a walk most days. Make sure you have a personal quiet time in place, ideally with some meditation. Make sure you're taking frequent breaks throughout the day to do a little bit of movement and break up those stagnant positions. And then also make sure that you get some brightness without sunglasses or glasses on so that you're setting your circadian rhythms in a positive direction. Try to get as many days of real food in place as possible, because that's where the magic of feeling great and losing weight happens. Get your bone stock and collagen in most days. Have an alarm that goes off before you go to bed, a couple hours before you go to bed, so that you're minimizing your stimulus and you're turning off all the bright lights, and so you can have an amazing sleep. I love to read in the evenings now, and then make sure you get to bed early, all right? And make sure that you're checking in on the community at least 2 times a week, because our goal here is to empower you with the information that we need to live amazing lives and to support each other throughout the entire process. All right, so sorry this one was a little bit longer, but we changed things up a little bit. And if you guys have questions, comments, feedback, or snide remarks, please send it our way, and y'all keep it real.